Good morning, humans of the internet. Or happy time zone, I suppose I should say. Out of practice, man. Welcome to Azurhia Under the Hood. I was thinking we might start today by just seeing if we can get icons for all of these various beasties that we have now that I've learned that you can just do this. That's funny. Sure, let's go with the little robot. Just to kind of get that done, pretty much. As you can hear, I'm still not really well, but you know, no rest for the etc. Yeah, I make my own fun. Marvati are like jugs and moles and things. We might be out of luck on this one. Just gonna make the noise less noisy. Please hold. Shh. Don't be so noisy. It's unnecessary behavior. Okay. Well, that's not helpful. Really? You don't have a single one of those things? How do you not have a hedgehog? Like, I get when you don't have the super weird ones, but a hedgehog? That's irritating. I guess a squirrel would probably fall into that category too. Let's go with squirrel. Even though we don't actually have squirrel in that pile. I don't remember what Asmani are. Ah, the angel folk. That'll do. That's an easy one. Automaton will be yet another little robot. I actually feel like this one should be the automaton, and this one should be the android. This guy. That makes more sense to my brain. Balu? I just like saying that word. It's a fun word. Cute. Batiulu. Oh, I don't think I've actually put the specifics in here, but I do have them. Yeah. Come on. Alright. Seriously? Sure they're there. What do you call it? Oh, is it because it's not? Fuck's sake. Okay. There we go. Anyway, Batiulu, sand. Drink some water, Jax. Because then what I'll do is I will also update the articles as we go along as well, just on that basic stuff. Because I keep going into those ones and going, I haven't done it. And the reason I haven't done it is because I did those guys. I did the giants after I'd done the initial like entry. So. I suppose we could just make all the giants giants if there's a giant one. Surely there's a giant. Come on, you're a TTRPG thingy. How do you not have giants? Ugh. How about ogres? No? Okay. I can't believe they don't have giants. What's it called? Awesome font. Awesome. Something to represent giant. Right? That seems bonkers to me. They're not. Dangers. Giants are danger. Magic. It's hard not to read this as like rah, like cheer for it, you know. Angel wings. Irritating. It's weird. It really frustrates me that you can't use icons from other sources because these are really limited. Really limited. Okay, what if I say sand? Oh, it's a sandwich, I see. What did I use for the did one of the dwarf, must have been Junicar. Sure, I found one for them. Maybe I didn't. It was desert related. Maybe it was the elf, the desert elf. Who are the desert elves? Can't remember which is which. I think it's Galassi. Nope, Snow. Jaskin. Kevin. Kitana. It's Levanti. If I'd kept going. I just used a sun. Okay. I guess that makes as much sense as anything. All the desert things. And here I'm just going to write desert giants for future reference. Okay. Not ideal, but it'll do. Kabili we've done. Cambion. No, come on. Give me something a bit more interesting than that, really. I kind of don't want to lean too heavily into the like demons are bad thing, but yeah, that might actually make more sense. Let's go with that. Oh, no, no, no. That works. Changeling. No, I think that one's going to be the closest we can get. The Animal ones are the easiest. It's trying to bake a burrito. I was like, what? Well, balls. You would think that a RPG based font set, I mean icon set, would have a fairy in it. Right? um, guess we just go with that again. Look, they're also fae. Sort of generalized fae vibe. Alright, so these are the like plant guys. I might actually just keep it really straightforward. This one should be easy. That one's cute. That one's cute. I'm probably not going to be talking as much as usual, but due to the fact that I am really not super well at the moment. And my voice likes to try to kill me. Okay. Yet another. Ah, closed it. um. The Rock Mountain ones. Ah, look. I wrote it down like I'm dumb. Okay, rock. Surely you have a rock. No, not a rocket. A rock. Stone? We'll also settle for mountain. Okay, that'll do. Mountain. Boom. Fuck's sake. Okay. Junicar. We've already established that this is a hard one, so I guess we'll just give them a sun as well. Okay, these guys are going to be impossible. What about something like spirit? What is that? Shell. No, that's not what I want. These are the guys that reincarnate, so I'm looking for something that's like repeat. Like that. People are going to think they need to reload it. That works. I have so much lore about those guys. I sat in the bath and just made up a bunch of lore. Dari. Gotta be a rat, surely. Seriously? How about a mouse? Not that kind of mouse. Wow. 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 I thought this would be easier. I'm not gonna lie. I genuinely thought it would be easier to find the different animals. And I really just want them as a reference point, like while we're learning, and not just me, while everybody's learning, you know, what's what. Because we've made up a bunch of words, but they don't mean anything until people actually understand them. But Is that a snake? I don't want a snake, but it's a snake. Ah, oh, that's so annoying. I guess I'll settle for paws for things that don't have animal things that don't have specifics, even though it annoys me. No gnomes. No gnomes! Sad. Wow. Actually kind of really annoyed about this. Wonder if you can... let's just... No, that's not what I wanted. Let's just... But can you add your own? Dumb. Guys, this makes me sad. Okay, yes, I've worked that much out. Thank you. That's not very helpful. Alright, so you can't, like... It actually tells you how you can... Okay. It is like... It's super frustrating to me because it's so limited. Anyway, alright. I guess we'll just have to do the best we can. Let us refresh that so you see where we were. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Gotta have a frog, surely. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Halfling. We already know there are no tiny things. Give them also a little hat. People know what a halfling is. I suppose I could just make just give all the fae the little fairy wings. I guess I could do that. Toilet paper ones are funny. I don't even know what else to look for. Okay, what we're going to try and do is find something that kind of implies, you know, underdark, cabiny. I suppose we could just use this the down circle thingy. Sometimes trying to search by with names is hard because sometimes an icon that's called something completely different can actually be quite helpful. It sort of gives the idea without. You know, it's a little abstract, but it sometimes works. Like we could literally use the little down arrow because it's, you know, underground. But there's a fucking otter. There's an otter, but there's not a rat. Like, what the hell, man? That's super weird to me. Super weird. How can there not be a rat? That's a pretty basic animal. Spaghetti monster. We're looking for something that implies underground, as in like literally under the ground, not like, you know, criminal underworld, but actual underground. Could use the mound for the Chinini since they live in mounds. That'll work. Back here for a second. Oh, it's not even there. Motherfucker. Put it like. Okay, fine. Put it. That sort of works. I mean, I guess we could use the icicles because they sort of look like stalactites. That'll work. Do. Do the same thing for them. Gotta have a fish, surely. Fish should be straightforward. Yeah, that's a cute fish. Did can buy Haru. Actually use that one for this one. It's the wood is the relevant thing. Kulanui. Oh wait, no, I'm dumb. Okay. Yeah, to have an elephant. Good. I'm like, elephants are one of my favorite animals. If they didn't have elephants, that would be sad. Tana styles, so there must be a star. Twinkle, twinkle, little elf. Piggy bank. Got piggy banks? Piggy bank. I know they have rabbits because I saw them. Oh, we've done them. I know that one because Amanzi is water in Zulu, and the giant names are all based on Zulu words. Some of them I know already. Goy are the snake peeps. Yeah. You know there's snakes. Okay. It's a little more neutral. Oh, that's a hard one. Oh, they might be snail. Temptation to use this crazy bird, but I think I might just use a normal one. Monkey, monkey. There is a monkey, good. No rats, but monkeys. What the hell, man? What the hell? Oh, Oh yeah, we had this problem before, didn't we? Stone. I guess we just go with mountain. Again. Even though it's technically not actually accurate because they don't necessarily come from mountains, but there's not going to be a marsupial, is there? Hmm. Crow. I'm kind of looking for anything that's going to work for any of the ones that we don't have yet, but or the ones that I'm dissatisfied with, which is quite a few of them. Every time I hear the word marsupial, I want to sing the Marsupilami song. There's a hippo. It was an elephant though, so they got an elephant because I like elephants more. I like hippos. I like hippos, but not as much as I like elephants. I don't even know how to really approach a marsupial that isn't just. I guess we could just use the paw print for, like we said, yeah, we said earlier, we'll just use the paw print for any of the Kalikasani ones that don't have clear. It's kind of annoying, but what you gonna do? Fish car. Icicles for those guys. And pretending they're stalactites. Earth is just going to give me the actual Earth, I imagine. This one for them too. Come on, give me a camel. No camels for you, Jax. That'll have to do. It's close enough. Less linear plants, so that's easy. We'll use the seedling. We're not actually doing too badly. I'm just frustrated by the ones that go with the water again. Most certain they will not be a rhino. Guessing there's probably not a tapir either. Nah, I would have been surprised if there was a tapir. See, there are loads of other ones if I get the pro version, but Still not everything. There's still no rhino. Okay. I guess we're gonna just have to use the paw for them too. Even though that's not, in fact, what rhino feet look like, but whatever. Okay, well, we have a whale. Yay, that's nice. Oof. A giraffe? No. Deer? Okay, that'll do. Just gonna get the little fairy wings because I already know that there's not a lot of useful fairy spritey things. Shadow. I was looking at the solid ones because you have to pick. Okay, some sort of shadow. I guess we could use a cloud. Clouds make shadows. I feel like the RPG, what's it called? This one might actually have something useful here. Like that, maybe. Or this is where thinking a little bit abstractly might actually work. Eye monster. You want a wolf, you have many options. Alien fire. Looking for something shadowish. Oh, actually, the like little mask could work. Crab claw. Some of them are so odd. Like, you don't have a mouse, but you've got a crab claw. What the hell, man? What is going on? Oh, you know what? I could use a little mushroom for the Kabali. Care about astrology. Brain freeze. Oh, that actually could work for the shadow. Go with that. I mean, incense is not what I would have looked up, but it kind of gives you that, like, ooh, mystery, ooh, thing. You know? Sylph. Is water? Yeah. Oh no, air. Air. Wind? That will do. Talos is metal. Okay. Like a bowling ball. Sort of works. Although, you know what would actually be ideal? It's like an anvil. Surely there's an anvil. Yeah, much better. That feels more accurate. Okay. We're nearly there, folks. Tartal. Oh yeah, we tried this. We didn't get very far, as I recall. Go with the paw for them. Can find something that looks kind of tanky. Sort of just a shield, maybe. I think that could work. Bizarrely, that could work. Just a circular. One. Eh, it's abstract as fuck, but what ifs. This should be easy, because if I write bull, no, how about cow? That's kind of what I was after. This sort of Minotaur vibe. Die. I'm not holding out a great deal of hope for seals and walruses, but okay. Back to the drawing board. Fluffy swirl. There's a fedora. You can't have a rat, but you can have a fedora. Figure that out. Shot through the heart. You're playing Bon Jovi. They are pyramids. What am I looking for right now? Seals and shit. I mean, we can just use the water one again, I guess, but... like, they're marine. Kind of gives you a vague idea, I guess. What are the chances? Hyena? No hyenas for you. That's kind of the closest. People outside of Africa feel like hyenas are canines. I think I'd actually... now I'm curious. I'm sure hyenas are one of those things that don't quite fit in anywhere. They like break all the... Feliform. What does that mean? Oh, cat-like. Yeah, they like bridge the gap between cats and dogs. And they mess up a lot of the, from my vague memory from um, the categorization. They defy categorization. Bitchy are mushrooms. Which we know we have. No, mushrooms. Hehe. Cute. Dressy. We're nearly there, folks. Nearly there. Okay, we know there's an otter, because I keep going, why is there an otter when there's not even a rat? Angie. Bat. Bat. That's better. Cute. And finally, Zimvu, who are sheep and goats. Okay. So we now have icons for all of those. Some better than others, but they exist, so that's nice. So now we're going to roll for Ancestry and just fill in some gaps. Go away. Roll. 29. Huniulu. Our forest giants. And we did nothing with the giants, so we're starting from scratch with giants. Huni Ulu are giants originating in forests or woods. They are enormous beings whose skin resembles the bark of trees. They are slow moving, but extremely strong and have a natural, almost elemental connection to trees and imagine a Huni Ulu druid. How cool would that be? Do I not have the wildlands as a interesting? And the Malahaya jungle, you would find them there. That's probably all for now. Huge, put your line breaks in jacks. Huge beings, skin resembling bark. I know I've already said that, but perception and sensory. I need to open Obsidian and look at what I've got in the other ones. Because a lot of the basic, like, really open. Serious. Why did you forget? Oh, it's because it's disconnected my Google Drive. That's why. All right, never mind. Never mind. Can't be bothered dealing through all that nonsense. Okay. We will say that they have. I want to give them like a maybe I'll come back to that. Huni Ulu can have natural children with any giantish beings. They have a long gestation of to a full Azurhian year. Actually, even make it longer than that. 2 full Azurhian years. Reach adulthood at 100 and can live I feel like they would be long-lived as fuck, like trees that just keep going. Any originate in forests and jungles where they are. And become sedentary and or wow, I can't type today, or in small family groups. They can settled, which means they stop in a location and can stay. I imagine them like Ents. Like that's what I'm imagining in my brain. Huniulu are like. They're like Ents. And can stay put almost indistinguishable from trees. Let's talk about that up here. Their hair resembles moss or leaf cover. Can survive on little more than water and sunlight, although they are healthiest when able to and most active when Sorry, folks. And this is better than I was. That's the really sad part. Alright, what have we been putting in? What have we done? Just want to open one of the ones I've done. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so this is where we're putting our special skills. So one of the ones I want is Honeyulu can imbue life into any wooden object. Bring forth that it would have produced when it was a tree plant. Once in the state, Honeyulu communicate with it. That's the story version, and then the actual game version is once per day. Ask it up to simple questions. After this, it's like the life wood version of Speak with Dead. Basically, is what I'm doing here. After this, the object subsides into a more inert state, but will retain its leaves. Any. Hello. So they will be talking to chairs and door frames. Yep. That's the idea. It's like Speak with Dead, except you're speaking with a chair. And it will be obviously not super useful because it's like the chair obviously hasn't had awesome sentience, but I feel like if clerics can bring a skull to life and talk to it, someone whose whole being is infused with wood magic can do that with essentially dead wood. Any growth for some time. So the other thing is, well, that depends, I guess. I'm not going to answer that question because I feel like that's a leave it open for interpretation sort of a thing. I've had that one in my head for a while. I was like, I feel like that would be fun because the other thing it does is it leaves evidence of your presence. Like, so if you're being sneaky and you're trying to like sneak into somewhere and find out stuff, first of all, you brought a giant with you, so that's a bit of a problem. But the giant can then talk to the chair, but then when the people come back, the chair's got like branches and leaves on it, so there's a sign that someone's been there doing a something. Okay. What else? I need one more like special skill for these beasties, these beings. What did I say about average about the thing earlier? I made it high, I know. What did I say? 800? 800, yep. I was saying, Matt, earlier that the Huni Ulu in my brain are like Ents, like Tolkien Ents. That's very much the vibe I have in my head. Huni Ulu are usually most comfortable in forested or wooded places. Do they talk super slow? I mean, I guess that's a flavor thing. That would be up to the player. And it would depend a little bit on the individual. I think that generally speaking, the answer is probably yes, because everything is slow. Because they're essentially just ambulating trees in a lot of ways. Having said that, I don't want to be prescriptive about that sort of thing, because there's something to be said about a quick Huniulu who just doesn't fit in anywhere, right? Because they've just, I don't know, maybe they were born in a city and so they've grown up in a culture where everything around them is quick. So they've kind of, they're still slow by most people's standards, but by other Huniulu standards, they're insanely fast. Like I can imagine that. So I would say culturally, yes, but not necessarily. In forested or wooded places, cities are usually not built for someone of their size. However, some have found homes in more populated. And I've already spoken about a lot of these things. Okay, so I just need one more special playable mechanical kind of ability. I mean, we could have a general giant one. They're obviously going to be strong, and they're obviously going to be... Let's go and do this bit. So this is obviously going to be D12. It can't really be anything else. I think I said years on my previous ones, but if the herbal composition of a tree would affect their personality, potentially, yeah. They're not like dryads, so they're not necessarily connected to a specific tree, but they definitely have tree-like qualities. And I think that they would certainly, like I've said in the earlier stuff, that they can settle, which essentially means that they stop moving and become indistinguishable from a tree to most people. Okay, so these guys have to be huge, which is going to be really interesting to try to play, because huge is 3x3, so that's 9 blocks. They are not quick. We'll make it 3. I'm going to say, well, all right, 1. I mean, obviously this is strength. Okay, and then we need one more skill. One more skill. Take in suggestions. Do this part. Uluia. I just made that up right now. Okay, I need to put it in the thing there. Yeah. I don't know if I've put all the languages in. My hope is that when we get to actually playtesting it, people are going to go, hey, my language isn't in there. And I'll be able to go, ah, sorry. I fixed that now. Okay. I don't really need to put anything else in there for now. We want to put playable here. One more skill. They are giants. They are tree-like. I guess I could give them the one that the dryads have. The pheromone thingy. Are they going to be common languages for plant-related folk? Probably. I think what I'm going to do is each community sort of species. So like all the giants speak the same basic language. although I guess there would be dialects or whatever. But then there will also be languages that are connected to location, which makes sense to me. So there would be like, and then those will be, pardon me, those will be tied to backgrounds. So for example, there would be Ijalan would be a language, and anyone who comes from Ijala would speak Ijalan. Same with like Ayabof and the shifting sands, there would be a common desert language that belongs to Ayabof. So some are connected to those communities and are, like traditional kind of community-based languages, which if you grew up in a traditional whatever home, you would probably speak that language, even if you lived in Elder Castle. Um, and then there would be some that are background based. But I think there's a possibility that you can have a ancestry and not speak the language associated with that ancestry, because language is obviously acquired. It's not, you're not born with it. So if you are, if you were left on the steps of the Temple of Solaria as a child, you're not going to be able to speak, and you were a Huniulu, you're probably not going to be able to speak the giant language because there wouldn't have been anyone to teach it to you. So the languages are not automatic. Is that what I'm trying to say? Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. The languages are not automatic. They would exist because these groups would all have evolved initially as individual communities, but you're going to be as a player, you're going to have to work through your story and figure out which languages you would know based on that story. So the languages exist, but they're not automatically applied just because you pick that ancestry, is what I'm trying to say. Are they common languages for plant-related folk? So the real answer to your question is there's probably a common Great Elthian forest language, for example. So all the denizens of that forest probably have a common language that they would communicate with each other. The Malahaya jungle, but there's no reason to assume that the plant life in the Malahaya jungle, the plant-based life forms that have language in the Malahaya jungle wouldn't have the same language as the Elthian forest, because they would have evolved completely separately. So their languages wouldn't be the same. So in that case, it would be based on background and where they started out, rather than their ancestry. Did I answer your question? That was a bit rambly. So I'm putting the languages in as I go, so that when I do the language stuff, I know what I've made. But that's not automatically assigned. You don't automatically speak the language just because you have the ancestry. Because realistically, that's not how language works. Okay, what was I doing? Dryads. I could give them the pheromone. That was the thing I was thinking about giving them. But that's actually not. That's a sense thing. So that should be in. Is it here? Oi, why? Be bold. Thank you. And then we'll also put that in. Yeah. But I feel like they need another specifically kind of given them a flavor on that communicate thing already. What about who else have we done already? The Dika. See, I've just given them all the same like plant things at the moment. I haven't actually gone in and given them specific, like the really specific skills. I don't think we did the wrestling knee. No. Do we give the giants sun? No, I don't think we give them sun sense. I mean, they're kind of bundles, like all the plant, you know, in a lot of these things we can just kind of bundle, but I want there to be specific skills for each individual thingy. Maybe we'll come back to it. Maybe we will come back to it. It's tempting to do like I literally just had this thought, like an ancestral memory thing, where there is a level of communal memory that can be unlocked. So I've sort of done that a little bit with the Efalahi, a bit differently, because the whole thing with the Efalahi. I'm going to just talk about this for a bit because I'm actually really proud of what I came up with for these guys. So the Efalahi are based on I think it was a Pathfinder species, and the base kernel is that they are constantly reincarnated, right? But there was a lot of stuff in the Pathfinder build that I felt like it was super broken and started them off in a situation where they were just crazy OP and they knew about everything, which I don't like. Level 1 players should be level 1. So my concept for these guys is that there is this community of Efalahi, and there are 777 of them in total, ever. And when they die, they are reincarnated, and they can be reincarnated anywhere that they have ever been in any of their lifetimes. So those of them who have remembered their whole lives can go back to a particular certain point where those 777 individuals woke up fully grown on this island in the Silsilades. And there are 7 houses, and the 7 houses are these. So scholars, farmers, hunters, carers, fighters, makers, disruptors. And their whole society, there are 111 of each of them. And their whole society is based on these essentially 7 roles, these 7 groups of people. And so the original memory is that they just woke up. That's as far back as they can remember. No one has ever remembered further than that. But at that point, they were all adults. They were all fully grown adults. Now, if one of them dies, they are reborn as a baby. And obviously, originally, they were all reborn in the same place. So someone would die, a baby would be born, and they would know, this is so-and-so. Like, this is obviously how this works. However, over time, some of these people traveled, and they didn't realize that this was going to affect this like the rhythm of this thing. Because once they began to travel, they began to realize after a few generations of doing this that they can be reborn anywhere that they have ever been in any of their lifetimes. So if they've traveled somewhere, they can be reborn in that place. So what happens is a baby is born to someone who is not an Efalahi, and they look pretty much like their parents, except that their skin is completely blue. So if their parents are elves, they'll look like an elf, but their skin is completely blue. And they don't start off remembering anything. So the memories get unlocked over time. And they obviously know they have histories of every single one of those 777 individuals. So they have on their little island, the scholars, who is one of the 7 houses, have a library. And in that library is a part of the library is a collection of the stories of these people. So when someone comes back, when they remember enough to know where they come from and come back to the island, they will sit down with them and like write that person's life story and put it into that person's library, so that that information is all there. However, you are not allowed to read your own library until you have remembered everything. Because what they've realized is that because this happened, they had someone who came back and was like, "Oh, well, I don't remember everything, but I'd like to." And so they were like, "Sure, go read your thing." And this person went mad, like because the unlocking of the memories is like almost part of their biological process. If you unlock them too quickly, it fucks that up. And so you're not allowed to do that because they've learned through trial and error that that does not go well, that it messes people up and it destroys their like that biological process of remembering. Um, and it has a whole bunch, like I was thinking it through and I was like, it has a whole bunch of implications because it means that if you are um, mad or very, very sick or injured in a way that is irreparable, the logical thing is to die because then you can start again. So their attitude to death is very pragmatic. Um, and they have a thing which they call going to the sea, where they will literally just put a person on a raft with like an elixir, and that person just goes away, drifts away, takes the elixir, which kills them, and then they just wait for them to come back because they will eventually. Obviously, this has been a little bit messed up by the fact that they can now be born in a lot of different places, and also it's imbalanced the society because the people most likely to travel are the fighters, the makers, the disruptors, and the scholars, I guess. But like the farmers, the carers, those people are more likely to just stay at home and do their thing at home. The others, um, there's a push to go and find out things or to do stuff, to learn things. Um, and they so there's an imbalance because most of the carers are still born on the island, like because very few of them have ever gone anywhere because their whole thing is taking care of their society and taking care of the children and looking after the people around them. Um, but like the disruptors, I'm very proud of the disruptors. That every society needs disruptors. Disruptors are the ones who go, "Why are we doing it this way?" Just because we've always done it this way doesn't make it the right way. Because a society that doesn't have any disruptors is stagnant, and that's the whole idea of them is that they're an important part. But of course, someone who has that in themselves is the most likely person to get on a ship and go somewhere else. Um, so every Efalahi has a name that is associated with their entire history, but they have to remember their name themselves. Um, it's just, yeah, I was really proud of it. It like came to me in an almost completed kind of, and then I was just like taking those logical steps of what this would do to a culture. Um, why did we start talking about them? I've already forgotten. Oh, because of the memory thing. Yeah. So they can remember all their lives, but they have to unlock that memory. Um, so they're born and they don't remember anything obviously when they're born, but over their lifetimes they begin to unlock memories from their past lives, which if they're not amongst other Efalahi and nobody understands them, obviously can be quite traumatic. Um, Especially because there are so few of them in the world. They're very rare. So it's not like, this is an Efalahi, we need to send them to the island so that they can blah blah blah. Like most people don't know anything about them. Um, anyway, I think it's cool. So the memory thing was kind of what I was thinking with Huniulu, but it's not like a reincarnated memory of an individual life. It's like a ancestral memory of, how root systems are like all connected, and that's canonical in this world because all the trees are connected to the original tree, which is like Elena's whole thing, um, something like that. I don't know what I'm getting to here, but that there's some sort of something. I don't know how useful that is in an actual in-game sense, though. Maybe we'll come back to it. Let's come back to it. We'll leave that there for now and come back to it. Let's roll again. What's the time? I've only got 10 minutes, but let's at least start someone else off. 20. Galassi. Have we done Galassi already? I'm not sure. It's one of the elf ones. No elves. Okay, we haven't done these. Okay. Okay. What's it called? I always think of Marima, but that's not actually the continent. That's the city. My sorry. Oh, it's not there yet. Okay, so Galassi are elven beings evolved in a tundra snowy environment. They have the physicality of elves, but tend to be I wish the word fat didn't have so much. Like these are beings growing up in a cold place, so it makes sense that they would evolve to have plenty of natural insulation. How do you say that in a not super connotative way? Fucking English. Fucking societal bullshit. I'm just gonna do it. Fatter than most other elves. They are covered in fine white fur, which helps them warm and provides natural camouflage in their snowy environments. That's not how you spell environment. They tend to have long, thick hair, including facial hair, which is unusual in most elves. They're just like the Norsemen of elves. That's what I'm imagining. Okay, what have we given other snow peeps? Have we done any of the other snow peeps? I don't know that we've done any of the other snow peeps. Don't actually think I have. Got to carve the snow dwarfs? No, they're the mountain dwarfs. I think these are the first snow peeps. Peshkar, I think, are the snow peeps. Nope. Do we not have snow dwarfs? Maybe we don't have snow dwarfs. Yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure we did do... Okay, so they have dark vision because all Fae beings have dark vision. So, wait, this one? No? Is that the bottom of this? Oh my goodness, Jax, what are you doing? I'm doing great. Okay, dark vision. Galaxy can have natural children with any other elven beings. There. Have we done another elf yet? I think I did the Levant, the desert ones. La 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 la, Venti. A lot of this is going to be the same. That's going to be the same. Galaxy. Oh, I've written Leventi up there. Galaxy. Traditionally originate in Maisari in small in the snowy tundra. However, I know that's fine. That's probably fine. Let's just stop there. Okay. Extended biological traits. What did we give you guys? Apparently I didn't put them in there. Okay, so we can actually give them very similar things to this. But we can call it snow feet. World Anvil sometimes just glitches out when it comes to like. Okay, so snow feet. Surface of snow. Legolas legs. Legolas legs. Not quicksand. That's got nothing to do with it. And then have resistance to environmental cold. Again, I feel like this is something that it's basically the same as this. I realized that was in there already, but no, we're actually gonna not put that there. We're gonna put it. Oh, look at that. I already did that. Can I have a natural resistance to... I'm being specific because it doesn't... I was going to say it doesn't apply to damage, but maybe it does apply to damage. Maybe it does apply to damage. We'll do it this way. Cool. All right. This is the thing is I feel like as we start to build this stuff, Anywhere the person has been, or anywhere anybody of the race has been. Anywhere that specific has individual has been in any of their lifetimes. So it's been 5,000 years. I think that's what I said. Yeah, 5,000 years, which is 10,000 Earth years. So it's a long time. So the ones who have an inclination to travel and see more of the world and learn more things have a lot more world to pick from. And the Evelahi themselves don't really know whether they choose or not. They call it the between time. And in the between time is the time between their death and their rebirth. And sometimes there is a gap there, but none of them remember what happens in that gap. So they don't know whether where they are born is a choice or whether it just happens, because it as far as they're concerned it just happens, but they don't know what happens in that between time. So I think it would be a really interesting thing to have an Efelahi cleric or a warlock or someone like that who has access to beings with more information about that kind of thing. I think that would be fun to play with. Jax herself doesn't know yet because I don't need to. Alright, so lifespan. Literally just looked at it. 600. I just want to finish this one off before I originally sorry, but now Lassie are found across Azurhia. I might just leave the rest for now. Let's just have a quick looky look. See if anything looks immediately hinky. But I think that's probably good enough for now. See, this is why I look. This is why I look. Oh, wrong button. I need to go get ready for work, but honestly, this is just so much cooler than work. I hate when it does this. It's like doesn't update. I'll fix this and then I'll go. Well, the anvil is amazing. Please don't get me wrong. I know I complain about it a lot. I find some of the just user stuff a little bit nope, that's not what I want. I want heading 3. A little bit glitchy sometimes, but for the most part it's just insanely cool. Like the amount of just interconnectedness you can get, and it's neat. It's neat. I've been working on some of the NPCs, and I've found that you can do this. Let me just show you real quick because it's super cool. So if we go look at, for example, a Peridot Gerald Flutterwing. So I've put some info in there, not a huge amount yet, but I've also got the story bits from the vault, and I think it's still not showing it. God damn it, that's so annoying. I can't figure out how to make it show you. But anyway, what I've done is I've made a manuscript called Story Bits from the Vault, and I've pulled out the little introduction bits that I wrote right at the start of season 2 about each of these characters, and I'm popping them in there. So in theory, eventually you should be able to click on this wherever it is. Oh, it's gone now. And it should show you that, but I haven't been able to figure out how to make it show you that, even though I've set it to public. So anyway, we'll get there. How much do you have on Peridot in there? Not a huge amount yet. I have if I could get back to the right tab. I've literally just dumped that in for now. And put in his basic, like, this basic stuff. So, what's he doing? Where is he? And his, like, basic. I like that I made his presentation grumpy. I was amused by that. Because it's usually a gender presentation. And I was just like, Peridot's presentation is grumpy. His name is my birthstone. Cool. He was called that because he was blue. Like, that's literally where that came from. And I wanted to give him a stupidly fairy name and then make him a really grumpy, pragmatic artificer. Because I just love that juxtaposition. And then the calling himself Gerald. Because he doesn't want to be known as Peridot. It's just, I had fun with these guys. Anyway, I just thought it was cool that I could do that, and I have been doing that, and I've just been dumping them in there, so that those bits of story stuff are not lost. Obviously, I haven't got very far. I've only got the 2, but yeah, just trying to pull some of the stuff out of the Discord that was written, so that it can still be in here, so we don't lose it all. Anyway. I think that is me for today. I will be doing Jax is Not a Gamer this evening on Twitch from 2 o'clock New Zealand time when I get home from work. And then, as always, Adam will take over from me a few hours in. It's a lot of fun. I don't know what we're playing because I've started spinning the wheel even on screen. So there can be no doubts about the integrity of the process. Not that I think anyone had any doubt. Everyone knows my adoration for randomness. But yeah, so come hang out if you wish. As always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you guys. I am already starting to construct character workshop stuff in my brain so that I can pull a few people in and we can start building characters and using those workshops as ways of developing some of the more in-depth stuff with these ancestries, like the specifics of the animals. For example, like we've got them into kind of categories, but I feel like they need to be specifics. Like we need to break that down a little bit further. And then also working through some of the background stuff because I genuinely think it's going to be easier to do some of that background stuff as a conversation in a like a backstory workshop. Obviously, it's not even beta. It's like pre-alpha at this stage. In terms of where we're at and whether we can play it. But I feel like it would be fun to pull a couple of people in and start just kind of playing around with that and kind of building it in the process. So keep an eye out for that. If you are watching this, Matthew, and anyone else who watches this, get first dibs on those workshops because you've supported me through this whole like quiet part of the process. And I will also be putting something on our Patreons so that the people who are still supporting us there, even through this quiet phase, get first dibs on being involved in the very early stages of the process. Because I'm super, super grateful for people who are still supporting us, even when we're not like constantly making content. Because we need this time, and it means a lot to me. So I did call dibs for you. But also, you have an interesting brain. You have a DM brain, and you think of things that I don't think, and you think differently to me, and I need that. So, it gives it depth, and it's good. Yes. Anyway, I love you guys. I got all sidetracked by the fact that I think you're awesome. So, thank you for being here, and I will catch you next time. Have a beautiful time zone. Adios.